On the boundary of the main port area, in the Mauritian capital city of Port-Louis, is the Rivulet Terrace Estuary Bird Sanctuary, the landing spot for many species of waders. They have flown thousands of kilometers to this safe haven in summer, escaping the harsh winters in the northern hemisphere. Migration is a remarkable feat of nature. It is only in the last 100 years that we have really begun to understand this phenomenon. Before that, people had some rather strange views on the matter. The Greek philosopher Aristotle, for instance, believed that some birds hibernated or even transformed into other species. But even with the leaps and bounds of modern science, there is just so much that remains undiscovered, so much to learn. So what do we know so far? Migration is a form of adaptation, and birds migrate in order to survive. All over the world, millions of birds flee winter. They relocate to warmer areas of the globe, places where food is abundant. The Rivulet Terrace Bird Sanctuary is a natural estuary, with part of it being marshy land, while other areas are mudflats and a small part as shore. No wonder this is the perfect refuge for the hundreds of migratory birds during their stopover in Mauritius. The Visitors Center provides information about the various birds visiting the estuary. A bird hide makes birdwatching easy for avid observers. The estuary is a natural wetland, one of the most important sites on the island for migratory birds between the summer months of October to April. The reserve is the first Ramsar site of international importance for Mauritius. Established in 1971 by UNESCO, the Ramsar Convention is an international treaty for the conservation and sustainable management of wetlands. At least 12% of globally threatened birds, a staggering 146 species, depend on wetlands. Wetlands are also vital for human survival. One of the world's most productive environments, cradles of biological diversity that provide the water and productivity upon which countless species of plants and animals depend for survival. This Ramsar site supports rare and unique faunal and floral biodiversity. It provides important climate change mitigation functions, such as flood control, sediment trapping, and shoreline stabilization. With such unique ecological characteristics, the bird sanctuary is an important ecotourism site for educational, recreational, and scientific activities. Strolling along the boardwalk, one can enjoy the magnificent view of the mountains afar. A native garden with foot trails run through the site. Curious birds do come for a lightning visit, and if one is lucky, the birds can be seen at a fairly close range. Every day, the staff carefully tends to the native garden. Out of the 69 plant species identified on the site, about 10 species are either endemic to Mauritius or indigenous to the mascarene. Giant Aldabra tortoises, which can be seen in the tortoise pen on site, have been introduced from Seychelles as an ecological replacement for the extinct Mauritian species. There are several of them on Île aux Aigrettes, a nature reserve off the southeastern coast of Mauritius. The giant tortoises help in restoring the native ecosystem by eating the fruit of the trees. The seeds are then spread through their droppings. Many plant species rely on animal-mediated seed dispersal, which then shapes much of our biodiversity. About 14 species of migratory birds originating predominantly from the northern hemisphere commonly visit the site as an overwintering ground, while some vagrant species can also be encountered. The most common migratory birds that visit our island are from Siberia, Norway, and Europe. These include the crab plover, common tern, sanderling, sandpiper, ruddy turnstone, and the whimbrel, among others. The climate is indeed appealing, but estuarine mud is crammed with nutritious food, from tiny crustaceans to worms and tiny mollusks. This vast area of glittering mud, sand, and salt marsh is the perfect feeding station for the wading birds during their annual migrations. A journey that stretches over several thousand miles is a dangerous and difficult mission. The physical stress of the trip, lack of adequate food supplies along the way, bad weather, and increased exposure to predators all add to the hazards of the journey. But how do birds manage this incredible feat without getting lost? For 40 years, scientists have known that birds can somehow sense the Earth's magnetic field and navigate by it. But they have been unable to figure out how until now. 2 teams have recently identified that birds can actually visualize the magnetosphere. The studies concluded that a protein called cryptochrome, which is sensitive to blue light, was making it possible for birds to do this. Over time, birds have evolved a mechanism to enhance the efficiency. So even when there is very little light around, they have enough signal generated to migrate. The way nature works never fails to amaze, but this same nature is also very vulnerable. Biodiversities across the world are under serious threat as a result of human activities. In Mauritius, the government, together with various organizations, are at the forefront of conservation. Habitat restoration projects on the main islands and on some of the islets are among the priorities. Intensive species recovery programs have been set up to save endangered endemic birds. These programs have gained worldwide acclaim for the methods used and results achieved. Among the 5 endemic bird species which have been saved from extinction, we find the Mauritius kestrel, the pink pigeon, the echo parakeet, the Rodrigues fody, and the Rodrigues warbler. The National Parks and Conservation Service and the Mauritius Wildlife Foundation have set up a field gene bank to save not only the rare plant species, but also the genetic diversity of the rarest plant species. All of the endemic giant tortoises on the island have been hunted to extinction. Many others, like the dodo, were unable to adapt to the invaders and to the loss of their habitat. Sadly, they are now extinct. Conservation is key to saving the lost forest fragments and to secure the future of threatened species. The biodiversity we see today is the fruit of billions of years of evolution, shaped by nature and by the influence of humans. It is the web of life upon which we so fully depend. Let us make this our priority, for we might live in different villages, cities, or countries, but we all live on the same planet. Like the phoenix, nature has always found a way to rise from its ashes. But will we as humans? The choice is ours.
Ô île Maurice, ma mère patrie, multicolore est ta nature. Ô île Maurice, mon cher pays, multicolore est ta culture. Tu es petite, certes ma docile, mais ta culture est amplement riche. Hindous, chrétiens, musulmans, bouddhistes, nous vivons tous en paix ici. Ô île Maurice, ma mère patrie, multicolore est ta nature. Ô île Maurice, mon cher pays, multicolore est ta culture. Ô île Maurice, ma mère patrie, multicolore est ta nature. Ô île Maurice, mon cher pays, multicolore est ta culture.